system of the frog. Okay, so this is our next lesson. So this will be your introduction to human anatomy and physiology. But since our topic or since our subject is about zoology, so we're focusing with the animals. So yung animal na napiling feature is about the frog. Okay, so this is about the cardiovascular system of the frog. Okay, so it says here that frogs are amphibians and have a closed circulatory system. Okay, so when you say amphibians, okay, so they can live in water and at the same time they can live on land. Why? Because the frogs can breathe through the presence of their skin. So kaya nilang mabuhay not only in water but also in land. Okay, so unless there is an abnormal mutation present, frogs only have one heart to pump blood throughout the body. So there is only one heart in among the frogs. Okay, but the difference between them among humans, the frogs are made up of three chambers. Okay, while the humans are four chambers. I will discuss this the summary of your PPT tomorrow before tayo mag-start with our laboratory. Okay, so the cardiovascular system of the frog. So if you remembered with your lesson during your high school, pag sinabing cardiovascular, cardio means heart, vascular means blood vessels. So may dumadaloy na blood sa ating blood vessels. So ibig sabihin, ang cardiovascular ng frog is made up of the heart, the blood, and then the blood vessels. So let us discuss this one by one. So yun lang talaga ang focus ni teacher. But before that, let us first know about the functions of this circulatory kasi in other Google, the cardiovascular, aside from cardiovascular, you can call this a circulatory system. But one of the references I saw that circulatory system is divided into two, the cardiovascular, and then the other one is the lymphatic system. So I am focusing with the word cardiovascular. Okay? So the function for this is a pump blood through respiratory system. Okay, so if during the if there is the oxygenate, if we are lacks of oxygen or if the frog is lacks of oxygen in the body, so yung parang hinihingal, okay, it needs an oxygen and it picks up oxygen aside from the skin in their lungs, through their lungs. Okay, so kung mapupuksan natin yung ating frog, we can see that the lungs are found posterior to the heart of the frog. Okay, pumps blood through respiratory system. Kasi from the heart, it pumps the blood. Okay, it goes into the respiratory system, specifically the lungs, to pick up oxygen. Okay, di ba ang word na sinabi ko, it is about the deoxygenated. So when you say deoxygenated, lack of oxygen. So anong gagawin niya? It picks up the blood, the deoxygenated blood, or without the presence of oxygen, it goes into the lungs to pick up oxygen. So that is one of the function of this under the cardiovascular system. Blood circulates hormones of endocrine system. So hindi natin na-tackle yung ating endocrine system kasi yan ay kasabay ng ating nervous system, but it is not very sad. Why? Because in your biochemistry and in your human anatomy, nandun na si endocrine system. Okay, sa nervous system at saka sa endocrine system kasi ito yung mga system na importante sa psychology. Okay, blood circulates hormones. Why? Because if you remembered with your lesson in your introduction to psychology, when you say hormones, ito ay pinuproduce along the bloodstream. So, nasa blood vessels niya where the blood is present. So, pupunta muna yung hormone. It released into the bloodstream to produce a hormone. So, blood circulates hormones of endocrine system in order to functions. Another one is to direct connection to the lymphatic system. As I have said, the circulatory system in general, it is not only about the cardiovascular, but also with the lymphatic system because it is about the immunity. Okay? Blood transport to nutrients to muscular system, also through the presence of this blood. Diba the nutrients, the nutrients are distributed into the bloodstream in order to give to the different cells and organs of the body. So makikita nyo rin ito sa ating digestive system, which is the next lesson after this cardiovascular system. I don't want to elaborate this more. Okay? So by next week, Monday, tayo ay face-to-face naman. So isasama ko ulit C, cardiovascular. And then, I think I have a quiz with the cardiovascular kasi mahirap pag pinagsabay yung dalawang system. Okay? I-announce ko na lang when will be our first quiz. Okay. Frogs have closed circulatory system that is broken into two lobes. Okay, ang frogs daw ay meron siyang dalawang lobes, and this one is the pulmonary circulation and then the other one is the systemic circulation. So when you say pulmonary, came from the word pulmonary, means lungs. As I have said earlier, sa lungs kumukuha ng kumukuha or nagpipick up ng oxygen in order to oxidize. Diba? As I have said, when you say deoxygenated, means without the presence of oxygen. So pag ang katawan ng frog ay kinakapos na sa oxygen, okay, it goes into a pulmonary circulation. So from the veins, okay, later makikita nyo si superior vena cava and then the inferior vena cava, which are both veins of the frog. Okay, blood pump from the heart to the lungs and back to the heart. Why? Kasi from the heart, pag deoxygenated, which means without the presence of oxygen, it goes into the lungs to pick up oxygen. Pulmonary circulation yan. Okay? Babalik siya sa heart para to prepare the body for the distribution of this oxygenated blood. Okay, class, pag pumasok na ang dugo na deoxygenated sa lungs, paglabas ng dugo, magiging oxygenated blood na siya. Kaya napapansin nyo, may dalawang color na tinitingnan ang picture. The other one is blue and then the other one is red. Okay, the blue, kinakapos sa deoxygenated, kinakapos sa oxygen. Pag nagiging red na, oxygenated na yung blood. When you say systemic circulation, blood is pumped from the heart to the rest of the body. Di ba sa pulmonary circulation, okay, from the oxygenated, kukuha ng oxygen, pick up ng oxygen sa lungs, tapos lalabas from the lungs, magiging oxygenated na siya ngayon, magiging pula na, it goes into the heart. And that is what we call the pulmonary circulation. Ang continuation is that dahil oxygenated na yung blood, or may presence of blood na siya, okay, i-distribute na yun yung oxygenated blood throughout the body. And back again. Kailan siya babalik? Pag kinapos na naman sa oxygen. Okay, and that is what you call systemic circulation. Okay, next. So this one is the picture of the heart. See, there are three parts of your cardiovascular system: the blood vessels, and then the other one, which is the heart. So this is the heart of our body. So if you notice this one, this is what you call the superior vena cava, which is found above. Okay, in your human anatomy and physiology, this is more elaborated with the anatomical terminologies. So mas maswerte, no? Superior vena cava, and then the other one is the inferior vena cava. Okay, we are focusing with this sa or sa pinaka first part dito. These are what you call the vena cavae, or they are called as the veins. Diba? As I have said, magiging pag kinapos ng oxygen, it goes into the heart. Okay, so saan dumadaan yung deoxygenated blood? In the superior vena cava and then the inferior vena cava. This superior means superior. Pag sinabing tao, superior yan, nasa taas na vein. When you say inferior, may inferiority complex ka, mababa ang self-confidence mo, that is inferior. So this vena cavae, kasi there are the plural of your vena cava, kasi you have superior and inferior, dito pumapasok ang deoxygenated blood. So ano yung una niyang pupuntahan? Kasi di ba there are three atria of the frog's chambers. Hindi siya four. So meron siyang right auricle and then the left auricle. So you're right, they are known also as the right atrium, and then the other one is the left atrium. Okay, so dalawa yan ha, meron siyang right and then meron siyang left, pero meron siyang isang ventricle lang. Okay, what is the function of this left atrium and then the right atrium or the auricle? Pag kinapos ang blood ng oxygen, okay, papasok muna siya sa inferior vena cava and then the superior vena cava. Okay, it goes into your right atrium. So papasok ang blood, ang deoxygenated blood to the right atrium. What is the purpose of this? Is to pick up oxygen through the lungs. Okay, so papasok siya sa right atrium, this part, this portion. Okay, and then it goes into the lungs to pick up oxygen via your heart, which is the right atrium, and then it goes out along your left atrium, which is your left atrium is the one to receives the blood, the oxygenated blood, kasi galing na sa lungs. Okay? So, what is the purpose of this ventricle? This ventricle, the responsibility for this is to pump blood. Okay? This is the one that to pump blood, which is ang ating left atrium at ang ating right atrium, nagre-receive lang siya ng deoxygenated, ang right deoxygenated, the left is the oxygenated blood. Nagre-receive lang. Walang active transport or walang effort na nangyayari kasi nagre-receive lang. But the ventricle ay siya ang nagpapump ng blood. Okay, kaya ang reason, the ventricle is larger compared to your right and left atria. Okay. Aside from this, let us first tackle about, let us illustrate first about the frag circulation, as I have mentioned earlier, the pulmonary circulation, and then the other one, which is the systemic circulation. Okay, when you say pulmonary circulation class, the oxygenated blood from the heart going to your lungs to pick up oxygen, and then pagkagaling dun sa lungs, di ba, look at this class, deoxygenated to kasi kulay blue siya. Iba ang kulay niya. Violet. That is the reason why pag kinakapos na ng hininga class, you have to check your nails. Okay? Kung napapansin nyo yan, some of my students, pag mayroong hinihingal sa loob ng classroom, or kahit ako, pag hinihingal, this one is you have to check it. Okay? Kasi kailangan oxygenated ang blood yan. So medyo nagva-violet or iba ang kulay. And this one is the illustration. Pag deoxygenated or kinakapos ng oxygen, nagiging ibang kulay siya. Tapos, pag pumasok na siya along the lungs, magiging red na. So, magiging oxygenated blood na siya. Going to the heart, and that is what we call the pulmonary circulation. But when you see systemic circulation, ito na yung pag-distribute ng oxygenated blood. Okay? The oxygenated blood, maliit ang kulay na to. Okay, this one, so magiging red yan, going to the left atrium, kasi oxygenated na siya. And that is what we call the systemic circulation. In short, when you say pulmonary circulation, okay, from the heart, the oxygenated, going to the lungs to pick up oxygen, then go back to the heart for the distribution. But when you say systemic circulation, from the heart, which is already oxygenated, okay, meron na siyang oxygen, it goes into the aorta. It's here, nag-ibang kasi ang kulay, and it goes throughout the body. And that is what we call the systemic circulation. And this one is the capillaries. Okay, kung nakikita niyo, para siyang net. Okay? So, ang kanyang dinadaanan ay ang ating blood vessels. Okay, the heart of the frag. So, as I have said, there are 3 chambers of your heart, the 2 atria, and then the other one, which is what we call the ventricle. Okay, as I have said, the atria is, the ventricle is, malalaki ang kanilang size compared to the atria, because the atria, it only receives the oxygenated and then the oxygenated and then the deoxygenated. Take note that your right atrium is the one that receives a blood which is deoxygenated. Walang kapos sa oxygen. Okay? But when you say left ventricle, okay, left atria, ito yung nagre-receive ng oxygenated blood from the lungs. And when you say the ventricle, this is a part of the heart which is used for as a pumping organ, or the one that pumps the blood. That is the reason why it is larger compared to the atria in terms of size. Okay, oxygenated and deoxygenated blood have a tendency to mix within the ventricle. Diba? There is kasi nagpa-pumping organ. Ang ventricle natin ay pumping organ. So, pag pinapump yung ang organ, dumadaan mo na sa proseso ng ventricle. In humans kasi, from the right atrium going to the right ventricle. And I think sa frag is from the right atrium, ipapump going to the lungs. Okay, may valves kasi yon. I don't want to elaborate about the valves in frag kasi lalo kayong mahihilo. Papasok muna siya sa ventricle, tapos ipapump going to the lungs to pick up oxygen. And then, pag ang blood or the oxygenated blood from the left atrium ay i-receive ulit ng ventricle, because the ventricle is the one that is responsible to pump the blood. Okay, so ipapump ng ventricle para ilabas all throughout the body. The left atrium, take note, receives the oxygenated blood both from the lungs and the skin. Okay, as I have said, it is not only the oxygen came from the lungs, but also from the skin. I don't want to to trace about the oxygenated blood from the skin. But the frog, they pick up oxygen also from their skin. Okay. The heart of the frog. So there are three: the left atrium or the auricle, and then the right auricle, and then the ventricle. Mas malaki. Okay, this one is the superior vena cava and then the inferior vena cava. Ang nasa taas na portion, okay, these are the veins. Okay, ang sa taas na portion, the superior, ang nasa baba is the inferior. Okay, ang nasa likod doon ay meron kayong malaki, that is what we call the ventricle, at yung nasa kanan is the right atrium and then sa left atrium. The one that receives the deoxygenated blood ay yung right atrium. The ventricle is the one to pump the oxygenated and oxygenated blood. Okay. And then the left is the one that receives the oxygenated blood. I want to elaborate this more sa face-to-face. Okay. So aside from that, there are two chambers. Okay. The truncus arteriosus, and then the other one is the sinus. Okay. So it is, nasa slide ito siya sa loob. Okay. Let us first tackle about the external structure of the frog's heart. So, ang frog natin ay meron siyang structure which is, the heart of the frog is dark red colored. So, ito yung hahanapin natin sa ating laboratory, ang heart. Tatandaan na ang kulay ng heart daw, according to this PPT, is dark red colored. Okay, so magbe-base ito sa inyong gagawin na output sa akin. Kung talaga ba na ang puso ng frog is dark red. So you have to picture it and you have to video it. Okay? So it is made up of muscle, which is the heart is enclosed with two membranes. So that is your inner epicardium and then the outer pericardium. What is the pericardium? Okay? Pericardium, pericardium is the outer. Kasi diba, when you say peri, outside, the pericardium is a thin sac that surrounds the heart, which is the one that protects and lubricates the heart and keeps in place within the chest. Okay, problems can occur when the pericardium becomes inflamed or fills with fluids. So parang ganun din. Diba sa tao may word na cardiomegaly or hindi lumalaki ang puso. Nagsuswell yung puso. Okay? The fluids kasi dapat, diba, ang puso natin ay nagpapump through the presence of the ventricle. So, frog, ganun din. Okay? Pag hindi maganda ang circulation ng fluids along the blood, along the heart, ay magkakaroon ng inflammation. At yun ay magkakaroon ng swelling that can damage and affect the heart of a person or a frog. Okay? So, the pericardium here, it says that there have the inner and then the outer pericardium. Your pericardium is the one that covers the heart. So this is the muscle or the muscular organ, which is, this one is the picture. Okay, so this one is the pericardium, the one, it's here. Okay, so it is made up of the fibrous pericardium, and then the other one is the serous pericardium. So this one, the one that covers the heart, is your pericardium, which is meron siyang outer and then the inner. Ang outer pericardium, okay, this one is the outer, and then the inner is syempre nasa loob. Okay, your pericardium are divided into fibrous and then your serous pericardium. And there is also your serous pericardium is made up of your parietal and then your visceral. Okay, your parietal it's here, and then the visceral here at the inner portion. Okay, kung meron yang, there is also a presence of your pericardial fluid. So, dahan-dahanin lang natin. Okay? Alam kong mahirap pa sa inyo. So, iset aside natin the pericardium. This is the one that covers the heart. Okay. The space between them, there is a space between them in two layers. Diba? The two layers of your pericardium, that is what we call the pericardial cavity, which is filled with pericardial fluids. Okay, kaya nga if there is a problem, mapupuno ang puso natin kasi there is a pericardial fluid which is present along the pericardial cavity. Okay, protects the heart from mechanical injury. For example, if there is a lab dab, diba pag nagfa-function yung ating puso, nag-contract and then they relax. And that is how the pericardial fluid used for. Okay, keep it moist para hindi siya prevent ang fraction. Alam niyo ba yung klaseng fraction? Diba ito yung dalawang daliri natin, dalawang kamay natin. If you rub that, it produces a heat. Pag walang fluids yan na nasa gitna, it produces a heat. So it is not not good. Allows the free movement during beating. So pag nagbi-beat, that is the function of your pericardium. This is a muscle which is used for contraction and relaxation. And during beating, this pericardial fluid or the fluids ay nagiging smooth ang kanyang beating. Also keeps on keeping the heart suspended into the proper position. And that is how important is the pericardial fluid which is present along the pericardial cavity. Mention ko na to, the right auricle and then the left auricle, the right atrium, this is receives the deoxygenated blood. So from the veins, the superior vena cava and then the inferior vena cava, it goes into the right atrium para i-receive ang deoxygenated blood. Yung parang kulay blue. Blue kasi dapat yun, hindi pula. Okay? And then your left atrium naman, nagre-receive, tumatanggap ng oxygenated kasi di ba from the right atrium going to the ventricle, ipapump ng ventricle going to the lungs to pick up oxygen. So pag nakapick up na ng oxygen into the lungs, maging oxygenated na siya, magiging kulay pula. Okay? At ito ay lulusot sa ating left atrium going to the ventricle in order to pump blood throughout the body. Okay? How about when you say the ventricle? The ventricle is found below the atrium, the bigger size. Okay, sa human, meron siyang left and then the right ventricle. Sa frog, isa lang. Okay, ito yung ilolocate natin bukas sa inyong frog. Ventricle is a single chamber, which is most important part of the heart. Single chamber. Okay, isa lang ang ventricle ng frog, which is unlike with humans. It is conical in shape with thick muscular walls. It is clearly separated by auricles and coronary sulcus. So heart of frogs consists of two additional chambers. So the ventricle is made up of your sinus venosus, and then the other one is the truncus arteriosus. Okay. When you say sinus venosus, this is one of the dorsal surface of your heart, which is found in your ventricle. Okay, look at this. Naka-paste ko to, which is triangular structure, may letter E yan sa dulo, which opens into the right auricle. So this sinus venosus, kasi veins, ang veins is deoxygenated. Ito siya ang naka-open, diba? From the right atrium, ang blood deoxygenated going to the ventricle. Ang sinus venosus, dun siya naka-open. Okay, which opens into the right auricle, it receives impure blood from all parts of the body. So from the, hindi pa pure yung dugo, diba? Deoxygenated pa, ang sinus venosus is the one that receives it. But when you say the truncus arteriosus, arteries, pag oxygenated naman, ito naman ang nag-extend forward. Siya naman is a tubular structure arise from the right side of the ventricle, which is called the truncus arteriosus, which is found at the right side of the ventricle. It extends forward over the right auricle and finally divides into two branches, the aortic trunks and then the aortic trunks, which consists of your carotid arc, systemic arc, and pulmonary arc. So never mind, basta the truncus arteriosus and then the sinus venosus. Okay, when you say venosus means veins, the oxygenated and truncus arteriosus, it is about the arteries. Okay, so hindi natin siya, I have to check it and then I have to elaborate this tomorrow if I have enough time. The frog's blood. So sa human, meron tayong red blood cells, the white blood cells, and then the platelets. So when you say among the frogs, 60% of this ay made up of plasma. Yung para siyang at the upper portion, yung mga nagba-blood transfusion, nakakita ba kayo noon, na para siyang liquid dun sa upper portion, that is what we call the plasma. And 60% of this is under the blood contains plasma among the frogs. There are two types of frog blood cells. So pagdating sa cells, meron siyang, within the plasma, ay meron siyang red blood cells and then the white blood cells. Okay, alam natin na ang red blood cells is color red in color, which means that this is made up of hemoglobin. Ano yung hemoglobin? This is the one that carries oxygen. Okay, so pag hinihingal tayo, ang ating hemoglobin ay bumababa. For those who are suffering from dyspnea or difficulty in breathing, ang hemoglobin ang nakamonitor. Okay, it is delicate class pag bumabagsak ang hemoglobin ng isang tao. Because this is the one that carries this is important along the red blood cells, which is the one that carries the oxygenated blood. The red blood cells of the frogs are larger than human red blood cells. And the red blood cells of frogs Ang shape niya ay elliptical, oval. And the shape among the humans, ang kanilang shape ay circle or circular. Okay. Pag red blood cells sa humans, class wala siyang presence of nucleus. While in the frogs ay meron siyang presence of nucleus. Okay. The frog red blood cells are 3 times the diameter compared to the human. So mas malaki ang red blood cells ng frog compared to humans. Okay, this one. So elliptical siya, class oval. Okay? So this one, if you compare, this one is circular. Ito yung sinasabi ko na ang red blood cells ng humans ay pabilog, ang frog ay pahaba. So malaki talaga ang red blood cells ng frog. The white blood cells of the frogs, yung puti, this one. Ito kasi yung ating red blood cells. This one, this portion. Okay, they are called as the white blood cells. Hindi kayo malilito kasi dalawa lang naman. May nucleus kasi sa gitna ang red blood cells. While your white blood cells, wala. Siya klasa, tatandaan, may nucleus. Ang red blood cells ng frog, ang walang nucleus, yung walang bilog, that is what you call the white blood cells. Dalawa lang naman ang blood cells ng frog. The red blood cells, and then the other one, the red blood cells. Ang red blood cells ay mayroon siyang nucleus. Okay, this one. Yan lang yun siya madidistinguish. And then the white blood cells here, this one. Siya. Blood vessels. So sa tao, kung nalilesson nyo dati, the arteries, the veins, and then the capillaries. Yung capillaries, siya yung nagko-connect along the arteries and then the veins. The blood vessels which carry oxygenated blood. Naalala nyo yun yung mention ko. It's about the arteries. Yung aortic nyo or the aorta, that is a part of the arteries. Okay, the pulmonary, malilito lang kayo pag pinasok na si pulmonary veins at saka si pulmonary arteries. Wala naman siya sa ating PPT, so hindi ko siya papansinin. Si arteries, siya yung nagkikarry ng oxygenated blood. Okay? Arteries are the thick-walled blood vessels that drain blood from the heart to all parts of the body. So this one is the arteries. Okay? The arteries. Okay? They carry the oxygenated blood. And when you say veins, they consist of valves that prevent the backflow of the blood. Hindi ko rin isinama si valves pa, ha? Makukuha niyo yan sa inyong human anatomy and physiology, which is your veins are almost the same structure as your arteries, but the veins is, it says here that the veins have almost the same structure as your arteries. It means they are also made of all these 3 layers. Okay, very thin. Consequently, the walls of the veins are comparably thin than the arteries. Mas manipis daw ang arteries compared to your red blood cells, but they are more elastic. So mas elastic ang white blood cells. Okay, this one is the sciatic vein. This one, the red one. Okay, red na naman ang ginamit dito, the red one. Okay, this one. Okay, this one is the portion for this going to the ventral, but this one is a part of the outer system. Capillaries. So ito yung nagjo-join between your artery and your vein. This one is your artery, and then the other one is your vein. Okay. And this one is the capillary, which is the smallest blood vessels. Okay. So this is the internal organ of the frog. Okay, makikita natin. So this one, they are called as your, ano kaya sa tingin nyo nito? Okay, this one is your, I think this is the vena cava. And then, the lower portion for this, let us, mas hindi siya mas ano yung ano, this one. Okay, let us see this tomorrow with the actual structure of your frog. Okay, so that is the end of your PPT explanation. But I will explain this if I have time tomorrow, at least 10 to 15 minutes summary. Okay, so good luck, class, for tomorrow.